What do you really need in life? What do you really need? As long as we can pay our few bills, eat well, love our animals, love each other, what do you really need? I think people have to sit down and think what they really need. If I had 100 grand a year, yeah, that'd be nice. But there's no drive with it. I don't need a lot in my life. That's what people don't understand with farmers. We've got our animals, we've got our land that we're connected to, and that's what we want to do. I don't want, I mean, if $1 million landed in my lap, I'd probably go and buy a cattle station. I wouldn't buy a fancy car. I wouldn't upgrade the house. I love my farmhouse. Decide what you want in life.
We're here with Karen Lindsay from littlewhitegoatcheese.com. Karen is an animal lover, a cheesemaker, a believer, an achiever. And are you the kind of person that you wonder, like, what's life all about? Or am I really getting everything I want to get out of life as far as my own fulfillment, as far as my parenting and my schooling and educating them and anything that goes along with that? We're going to talk with Karen about some of these secrets to the universe, secrets to happiness, and secrets to getting what you want. So, Karen, glad to be speaking with you.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And so, what are you all about? Like, what is your passion and focus for the past 6 or 9 months or so?
Um, and like I said before, I used to teach, and with my grandkids growing up, then some of them are going to be homeschooled. You see the joy and the wildness and the freedom they have. And then you see when they enter that institution, what it does to them. It just kills their creativity and their love for everything out in the wild. I mean, I don't mean keep your kids wild, but you know what I mean? There's so much out there to learn. Don't stick them in a room and be told what to teach, what to learn. It worries me a little.
And I think we should all be worried a little bit, right? And at least examining the alternatives because we want the best for our kids. And if school is not working or if it's something that they dread or is holding them back, then we can look into these other things that can or should be done. And so, us kind of jumping into this conversation here, if there's a parent out there who says, school isn't working, I don't like my kid in school, I want to explore homeschooling, how do they know if homeschooling will be better or if they will just take their problems and unhappiness with them?
Well, I think every parent knows their own child. So if you know your kids, you'll know that they're not going to sit in a room for 6, 7 hours and listen to one person and not go outside those walls. I would say 99% of kids need to be, they're just like little zombies in the classroom. I wasn't a maths guru, so I found maths extremely hard, especially at high school. Didn't understand it, but if they'd taken me outside and applied it to nature, I reckon I'd be Einstein, maybe.
I love it. And you're kind of touching on something that I think it's a real frustration with the education system that they want you to be well-rounded. And I guess that's okay to a certain extent, but like they really want you to look at your weaknesses and pump those up, even if you don't want to learn math or you don't want to learn these other things, instead of finding a way to meet you halfway because they have to work the assembly line, right? They have only so many teachers and they have tons of kids and they have these deadlines and they just need to make this program sort of work. So I can understand the kid needing more attention.
Yeah, and who are they to tell you what you need to learn? Like it's a blanket. You must know your 5 times table by the time you get to grade 3, year 3, or whatever it is now. Who says? I might have
Somebody,
learnt my times table. Yeah, I know, but who are they? So
some
you're
lawmaker, some school board somewhere. They decided it was
okay.
going to happen.
They
Yeah.
they've got a badge, and I will tell you what you need to learn. Yeah, and it's just kids all learn at different stages. We all learn at different stages. So
Yes.
yeah, that's my belief. I just want to make things easy for people who want to learn when they want to learn. We might have a 40-year-old who wants to learn his 5 times table. I'll help.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I love
Let
it.
this know it. Yeah.
So we're finding out what you're all about and about what, if we're not forcing any lifestyle on anyone, but if someone says, I want to explore this homeschooling thing, I'm unsure, I have questions. Would you say it's like when you enter these sort of conversations, is there like a top one or two concerns if someone is exploring or thinking about homeschooling and there's the the hesitation, there's the objection. What do people say in resistance to homeschooling?
I think they don't have the belief in themselves because education system has put that on them. That they don't let you believe you can do anything. They want you to believe what they tell you to believe. And this is where this and your heart rule your life, not the education. I get cranky. But just yeah, it's don't ever think you can't do it. Because if you know your child, Robert. You know what he's capable of, and he knows what he's capable of. You've just got to let him tell you.
And, I am many times, probably almost every day, I'm trying to tap into that mindset of be a risk taker, make mistakes, do stupid things, and then knowing
Mhm.
that most mistakes are minor and can be undone. And it's better to be brave and be bold and be courageous rather than being a scared and tiny little mouse. So, do you have any sort of like a fun story or any words of encouragement for us to tap into some of this sort of fearless energy?
I think as adults, we have to tear that wall down. That we've been told how we should act. Recently, I was part of a TV show, and I was the oldest person on the TV show. It's not aired yet, but I was running around Melbourne in a gorilla suit at age 61 in the pouring rain doing advertising for a big company. Why not? Who's there to tell me I can't do it? It was so much. I was absolutely bucket at the end, but it was 5 or 6 hours. Um, Stupid, looked ridiculous. People laughed. But do you know how nice it was to see people laugh? They weren't making fun of me. They were laughing with me because we had a ball. Now, there's not many people at my age who would do that, and I don't care. Just stop listening to what people tell you you have to what they think you should do. I don't listen to anybody else, as you've probably realized in our short meetings. Yeah, don't there's no such thing as an authority. You're the authority of your life. You've got to make the decisions. Bugger everyone else.
Here's what they think. They have their own lives. You have of your life. Why are you letting them
Fine.
intrude on what you're doing?
Exactly. Don't let anyone else dictate. If you want to go and do bloody hang gliding at 90, do it. If you want to learn to paint like Picasso at 85, go and do a lesson. If a 5-year-old tells you, come and watch me do a sand painting, go and sit down with a 5-year-old. You never know what you're going to learn. We've all got something to offer at every stage of our life.
And that seems to be the theme that we're finding in our conversation here, that age is just a number, but then many people get hung up on their age, whether it's small or it's large. They say, because I'm this age, I can do this or I can't do this. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember thinking that 30 was old. I remember thinking that 60 was at the end of your life. But then now that I'm older, you hear about people just like going back to school at this age or starting some other career at that age. But how do we stick with it? Because it's easy enough to say, well, I've been a scaredy cat my whole life and I want to go hang gliding and I want to go painting and I want to move to the other country. But it's very easy for us to self sabotage and say, I've got this dream, I've got this goal, but then people don't take action. So, how do we just do it and how do we stick with it and follow through?
I think go deep inside, ask yourself what you really want to do. Get a piece of paper, write down all the classes. What can I what if I'm going to do this thing, what are all the positives? Write down all the negatives and then decide. But I tell you what, if you really want to do it, there won't be any negatives. Stop putting up boundaries on yourself. That nobody in this world should have boundaries. And if you don't have the money to do it, save up. If you don't never going to have the money to do it, find something similar. Like we don't have a lot of money, and I want to travel and do stuff. So you'll find a way.
And it seems like
You always find a way.
so there's the matter of there's like the what, right? Which is, well, what is that thing that new adventure I want to embark on? And then there is figuring out the why, which are the pros and the cons. And there should be no cons, or they just should be like cons in disguise, and it should be all pros. And then it's a matter of then the how, and then that's just kind of an afterthought. That's just like, okay, what's my 6 month plan or my 2 year plan to save up the money or figure out, well, if I'm doing this adventure to some other country, what time of year will it be? How many days or weeks? What will be the travel details? And so it seems like if we have these big, huge problems set out in front of us, then it helps us to break them down into smaller, manageable pieces. And the next thing you know, we can just tackle them one day or 1 week at a time. And then it's not so difficult to just, it's not this huge problem. It's just a series of little problems.
And think about what you do every day in your life. You might go to the shop and buy an expensive coffee every day. And I don't know what they cost where you are. I don't drink coffee. Say it's $6 for a cup. Cut that out. Make a cup of coffee at home and take it in a mug. There's $6 you've saved. Put it in a jar. If you eat takeaways, how about you stop takeaways? I don't know how much, I don't do that either. Maybe it's $20 for a takeaway. I don't know. But, there's always a way around things. Just think about what you're doing with your life. There's always the way, always something. I'll get down to my last $5 in the bank and something will come and save me and I can buy the goat feed. Something always pops up. Always.
And you're saying there is that the kind of the method, the vehicle is temporary discomfort now in order to attain your dreams in the future. And what can you cut back? Can you get a roommate? Can you take the bus to work? Can you cut down on the fast food or the coffee? And these many of these small things can add up to something that will finally remove the excuse, and usually the money excuse, to do what it is that you need to do. And so you're in
Yeah.
this book, co-author with Pat Mesiti, From Potential to Prosperity, where we hear some amazing stories about you, such as with your goat farm and with your homeschooling. And we definitely want people to check that out. But do you feel like, is there anything maybe between the lines or anything left out or anything that's interesting that you feel like we didn't quite fit into that book that you feel like explaining today?
No, I think, well, I started farming 18 years ago. So I was in my 40s. And people went, "What are you doing that for? Like, goats are forever." But it's not a 5 year. They just don't disappear after 5 years. And you know what? The passion for, as you can see, Betty's sitting here. My passion for animals is huge. So just dive in. I just dived in and did it. And when COVID hit and I lost all my restaurants, that should have been the end of it. But I think as farmers too, you've got a different mentality. You just think, well, no, I've got all this cheese. What am I going to do with it? What am I going to do with it? Restaurants are shut. And then I freeze dried it and it's a world first product. So again, that saved me right at that point where you think, I'm done. Something comes to you. You've just got to believe in yourself. And that's a really corny line. I hate it. I hate that. I hate it. But yeah, think with your head, think with your heart, and something will just, oh, but yeah, I can do that. That'll fix it. Or that'll get me to the next stage.
You will pivot. You'll find a solution, even if it's not the most permanent solution. It might be something that gets you over to the next season. And so it seems like there's kind of quite a bit of overlap between the entrepreneurial mindset and the farmer's mindset. I mean, you think about farmers, and it's kind of a crazy profession, right? It seems to be like
We're nuts.
really risky, really low pay, really a lot of work, and a lot of like creativity and problem solving and motivation and time management. And so, like, what would you say as far as like entrepreneurials, people and farmers? Like, what are the bad mindsets and what are the good mindsets? And like, what are the skills and what do you think you really tapped into in all of your journeys?
I think the main thing is people go, oh, it's low pay. But what do you really need in life? What do you really, really need? Like, as long as we can pay our few bills, eat well, love our animals, love each other, what do you really need? I think people have to sit down and think what they really need. I mean, if I had 100 grand a year, yeah, yes, that'd be nice. But there's no drive with it. If you've got this fancy job, I don't know. I don't need a lot. I don't need a lot in my life. And I think that's what people don't understand with farmers. We've got our animals, we've got our land that we're connected to. And that's what we want to do. I mean, if $1 million landed in my lap, I'd probably go and buy a cattle station. I mean, I wouldn't buy a fancy car. I wouldn't, upgrade the house. I love my farmhouse. So yeah, you've got to decide what you want in life, I think. And I think a lot of farmers have that mindset that it's not about greed. It's not about people perceiving what you've got. It's yeah, you've got that mindset of I want this is everything I want. I
Decide what you
suppose.
want in life, and money is only a very small factor of many other life attributes.
Yeah.
There's your surroundings, there's your lifestyle, there's your happiness. And you know what you're reminding me of it is when I was nearing the end of school, I had a lot of friends who were like pursuing like, okay, what career or what job opportunity will get me the most amount of money? And some of
Mm,
them moved into like the big city where it's really crowded and then way more expensive. And then they ended up like making all this money, but then spending all this money, commuting a long distance, living in a super tiny apartment. But oh, but my this number is really high. And I'm thinking, but nothing else in your life makes sense. And you're overworked and you don't have a good relationship and you're unhealthy. But hey, at least this incoming number is really high. So that's
yeah,
interesting to think about that. It's really tempting to say, well, if I found this income or I found this job, I would do anything to make, you know, 100 grand, 300 grand a year. But like, if it came with all these costs, would it really be worth
exactly.
it? Probably not.
Exactly. And when you look at when I see cities, I see grey, I see black. I don't see life, and that's my perspective. I see when I'm here on the farm, it's the animals, it's the love, it's the grass, it's the tree. I mean, not at the moment we're in drought, but that's part of farming as well. And no, it's just I don't think I think people see things differently. They see, like you said, they see that high number. They've got to have the flash apartment. They've got to have the best restaurants. But is that really making them happy? Really, really making them happy?
Probably not. And there's I think there's a difference between having enough money to like be comfortable or to be out of difficulty versus just money for the sake of it.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. A little bit of spending money's nice, but and in the end, we're all going to end up in a box, aren't we? We're all going to,
Right.
we're not going to be, I'll be lying next to someone who had 5 million bucks and we're still in the ground with covered in worms.
Yes,
Like we're
we're
still on the side.
headed for the same destination and you
Exactly.
can't take it with you. And so
But,
we all have the struggles that we're all dealing with. And like, what is your current struggle? What's the current kind of problem you're facing and what are you working towards?
Um, I'm trying to get my freeze dried out to the world. So my freeze dried cheese, um, learning how to get it overseas because it's got to be export accredited and all this sort of thing. Yeah, it's just the little steps with the authorities, those who make the rules. Yeah, it's just little problems. Nothing's huge. Nothing you can't. There's nothing that'll stop me. I'll just plod along and I'll do it.
And is there anything unique about sort of your problem solving approaches? Are you the kind of person that like you block out time to deal with this aggravating kind of red tape? Do you ask for outside help? Or are you like a super focused person? Everything falls away for 3 days. Like, what is your approach when you're dealing with these sorts of barriers you're talking about?
Um, I basically don't have an approach. It's you're always thinking. So whether I'm feeding the goats or making cheese, this is always you're always problem solving. I don't say, righto, Wednesday morning I'm going to sit here till lunchtime and try and find a solution. You're just always thinking constantly. And because I'm loving what I do, I think that gives me the freedom to keep thinking.
Okay.
I think
So
you create your own barriers.
So be always on and always be thinking. And when you're kind of doing a physical laborious task, then it frees up your mind to do these other things. And so many of us are maybe driving the car or on our phones, and our mind is not freed up by in kind of doing this sort of physical work. Then you can
Mm,
kind of have and I imagine it maybe even take some of the pressure off, right? Because like if you leave things to the last minute or you don't address the issues that you should be addressing, then that's kind of a fight or flight panic mode. But if you say, you know, I have this length of time to work on this problem in the background, then you can kind of just like, you know, take your time with it.
yeah, yeah. And then sometimes I might just go and sit in the goat paddock and the goats will come and sit next to me or kids will jump on my lap. But it's like, oh yeah, it's just a moment. Don't put restrictions on yourself. It'll come.
you have that aha moment, the apple falling from the tree and bonking you on the head, and you say, "Oh my gosh, I had this flash of insight." And so in your chapter in From Potential to Prosperity, we one thing we didn't really get to jump into much is kind of your long-term transformation. So like, do you have any sort of story in your back pocket from your younger days, from your youth, from decades ago, from like, is there like a really stressful moment or a really like problem that you had to overcome that defined who you are today? Anything come to mind?
Um, I found out probably when I was about 10 that I was adopted. So immediately in my head, in my 10-year-old head, I took on that I was obviously not good enough and someone gave me away. That stayed with me. Probably a little bit now, but not so much. So I did everything I could. I went into every sport, every band, played an instrument, every outing, every school group, every sporting thing possible to try and prove, I think for me, that I was worthy. And it was probably 5 years ago, I met my birth mother and I realized that I was good enough. She was 16. She gave me away because she was 16. It wasn't because I wasn't wanted. And I think that was my moment. It was only 5 years ago. That was my moment. Like, oh my God, I am good enough. But you just, yeah. So never think you're not good enough. There's always a reason behind it. But I wish I'd known earlier because, yeah, but it won't stop me trying everything now because that's just what I do in life now. But yeah, that was my big moment.
And at least you channeled it into something positive, right? You could have easily
Yeah.
gone the other way and channeled it into crime, drinking, drugs, getting bad grades. But instead, you said, I'll really show them. And also, a lesson I get from what you said there is that we shouldn't take things personally, right? If someone
Mm.
cuts you off in traffic or is mean to you out and about, like they're probably having a bad day. It probably has nothing to do with you. So why would you let their negativity ripple along into
Oh,
what you're doing? Goes back to what we were saying earlier. Just do your own thing. Don't let anyone else pierce your shell, your bubble.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I wished I'd found out earlier because I wouldn't have. Well, probably, I don't know whether it's just, see, I don't know whether that's just me wanting to try everything when I was a kid or whether that was in my back of my head to prove to myself that I was worthy. Don't know, but I'm still doing it now and I know anyway. So maybe it's just the way I think.
Maybe,
Yeah,
and now it's just part
maybe
of the
what I
past,
do.
part of your origin story, and you said
Yeah.
whether A caused B or B caused A, you say, this is the kind of person that I am. I go all in, I charge ahead, I figure out what I need to figure out. And to get everyone sort of caught up on that sort of thing, can you tell us about, get us caught up on this whole like goat cheese phenomenon you have going on? Like you raise the goats and now you're trying to get this cheese put into the store. So give us some awareness. Tell us what this project's all about.
Yeah. So I've been making the normal Persian goat feta for about 15, 18 years. Um, And then, as I said, COVID shut the restaurants down, so I had excess cheese. And I think you guys, where you are you're quite up with freeze drying. Like you would know what freeze dried products are. In Australia, we're probably 20 years behind. I don't. We're only just starting to work out what it is. So it's a product that you can keep in your pantry 18 months. It's ambient. It's not stored in the fridge. You open it, put it on your salads, pasta, pizza, tomatoes, avocados, whatever you want to use fresh feta on, you can use this freeze dried. Vegetable bakes. I can send it in the post anywhere. It's especially in remote Australia where they don't get a lot of fresh dairy. That's quite a big region, quite a big area for me. Um, but it's a being a world first. I want to get it out to the world. I want everyone to know what this fabulous, and it's here in a little farm in Queensland made by me, an old 61-year-old girl. Yeah, who has a passion for innovative stuff. Get it out there. I want everyone to try it. I want everyone to have it in their pantry. Not a big
Wonderful.
ask.
Yeah, and just not a big ask to join this revolution that other countries have been a part of, but now that it's coming to Australia, everyone can enjoy some of this freeze dried. So, what is it exactly? Like you said, there's like goat cheese, feta cheese. Like what sorts of things
So
we'll
it's
get?
a Persian feta, which is it's not from Persia. So Persian feta is just a very soft feta. It's not like your crumbly feta that you put on salads. It's a very soft, creamy feta, and then it goes into the freeze dryer, and it comes out as a crumble, and it sort of takes on the flavors of whatever you put it on. So if you put it in a vegetable bake, it will take on the cream and be lovely and chewy, and you still, and it's very the nutrient. Um, it's very nutrient dense and flavor dense because of the freeze drying process. It's not dehydrated where you lose all your flavor. The chamber in the freeze dryer locks in all your nutrients and your flavor, and it's just divine.
Wonderful. It sounds divine. And so if someone says, I want to participate in some of this divinity, what is the website? Is littlewhitegoatcheese.com a logical place to find out more?
Exactly. And you can order from that website.
Wonderful. So you
Yeah,
can read up on the blog, browse the catalog, order from the website, and get it mailed to you in the post, correct?
exactly. Usually 1 or 2 days after you order. Yep.
Super great.
Packaged by me.
Well, cool. And then as far as the homeschooling kind of pursuit that you have going on, is there a website for that, or is there a way to find out more about what you have going on there?
Um, it's a work in progress. So I haven't actually got there's a website coming, but I will probably put a link on that little white goat cheese page to the website when it's done.
Well, fantastic. And so we've been speaking with Karen Lindsay from littlewhitegoatcheese.com and also the co-author with Pat Mesiti in From Potential to Prosperity. And in our last couple of minutes here in our conversation here, Karen, do you think there's anything left out? Sometimes you have a discussion or an argument, and then the argument's over and you go up to the stairs and you're like, oh, I should have said that one last thing. Can you think of anything that we feel like sneaking in here at the very end?
Oh, I just think forget what you what did someone tell me once? The date you're born and the day you die, there's a dash in the middle. All I say is live your dash.
Wonderful. Live your dash. And that's just a
Yep.
wonderful lesson for us to keep in mind. And anytime that we feel stuck or discouraged or struggling, and when we need to pursue that goal or pivot or problem solve, then think about, well, pursue that dash. And you don't have to remain the person that you were even a year ago or the person you were as a kid. You can transform, you can evolve, you can find these alternative solutions. And so, one such alternative solution includes Persian Feta freeze dried, which you can find at littlewhitegoatcheese.com. And as we're completely wrapping up our conversation here, Karen, do you have a favorite book or lesson or quote or moral? What comes to mind there as far as just like favorite quote ish?
I don't really follow other people's quotes. I just live your own life. I think that's the biggest. Don't listen to those who say they're authorities. I mean, follow your boundaries, I suppose, if you have to. Just live your own life. Live your own, follow your head, follow your heart. Live your own life.
And then it's very on brand for you, being a individual and independent person. It's a quote from you yourself. Live your own life and don't let anyone else intrude on that. So as you're living your own life, check out From Potential to Prosperity with the chapter with Karen Lindsay, and live your own life by checking out littlewhitegoatcheese.com. It's been a pleasure speaking with you again, Karen.
Thank you very much. Same here.